So recently I got the Heart to the Core achievement in Little Nightmares, which I was very excited about. So I wanted to make a short video to explain the tips and tricks I used to get this achievement so it can also help you guys on your speedrun. So without any further ado, let's get to it. The very first thing I suggest to you guys before starting the game is to remove the game's sound. Now bear in mind that it is optional to do this, you don't have to do it, but the reason for me was that the sound and the music inside the game somehow gave me a little stress, which led to making rash decisions and eventually dying inside the game. So it's completely up to you if you like the sound on or off inside the game. Just remember that always do what is best for you. Now, here are some few things to consider on your speedrun. Number 1, don't worry about time, worry about not dying. Because from my experience, you always get plenty of time, but dying part is the difficult part on this achievement. Number 2, do not rush. Play it safe. Although this is not always the case, but I will talk about it further in the video. And number 3, pause and rest if you like. Remember, you can always pause in the game and go rest or do whatever you like. It will not affect the time. And when you feel ready, come back to the game. So as you know, there are 5 chapters, and in chapter 1, you can save a lot of time for the future chapters. For example, in this part of chapter 1, when the floor breaks and you fall down, just take a straight line and at the end, jump across the black worms. Now after going inside the other room, you can jump the distances between the ledges, but it's best to play it safe. But still, if you feel confident, by any means, go for it. Now as you can recall, I mentioned that playing it safe is not always the case. And by that I mean situations like this. Now in here it's best that you jump between distances as it is quicker and you can save up some time. Now after getting to this point of the game, the best thing you can do here is to actually not push the door. Just try to slide in. You will eventually get inside without pushing the door all the way open. And you will see what's behind the door, and there is no need to push the door back to close it. Now the other thing I like to consider here is the stamina. The game doesn't show us any stamina bars, but stamina is a thing in this game. Now as you can see, our character 6 is getting tired after I jumped and sprinted. Now if I wait a few seconds, it will gather up his stamina. For here we can easily get past the light just by going to the front wall and then moving to the other side of the room. Just like how I am doing it in the video right now. This next part is also important. When the janitor comes inside the room, don't hide. Just run past them and go straight to the vent. Now a little tip here for every time our character gets hungry throughout the game. Best thing you can do here is just jump. Just jump to move faster until you get to the point that she's going to grab something to eat. And here's a little Easter egg if you haven't noticed it before, that every time you eat something, Six's shadow starts watching. In this part, there is nothing special to say, just that after you pull the switch, get to the lever and push it to the right side. And soon after the cage comes up and starts coming to the right, then quickly move it to the left. And then leave it and jump on the cage. This way you can move the cage a bit quicker. After you get down, pull out your lighter and move very carefully and don't rash it. Just move slowly and you will pass all of them. After getting the key, go to the door and push yourself to the door until you get inside with a bit of force. Now soon after we get to this part of the game, you only need to move on the clocks. And when you get to the cage, just jump on the cages and then go straight to the hole on the wall. Now one tip I can give you guys here is to turn the lever only once. It will be enough to open the door and get inside. The shoe part, the thing we can do to save a little bit of time is to move or swim non-stop. Don't wait for the thing under the shoes to reach the suitcases. Just move and swim from one case to another until you get out of there. So here is one of those places that you should wait and recover your stamina, because as soon as you go in, you have to run. Now when we reach the clock part, if you remember correctly, the clocks will start ringing at a specific time. But since we removed the sound of the game, we don't need to hear the clocks. So what you need to do here is to grab any shoe, throw it, and just start running. And when the clocks eventually ring, it will give you plenty of time to escape from the janitor. Soon after we get up from the bookshelf, just wait a few seconds so that you make a distance between you and the janitor. And then instead of going up, just go under the shelf and start running to the other side. This way you will save a lot of time in this chapter. And even after you get inside the other room and turn on the TV, the janitor won't come inside right away, so you can get ready for your escape. Now in this part, there is only one thing to mention that you probably might have known, but if you didn't, here's what you can do. After you pull the cart on the steam, instead of going up the cart, you can jump to the other side from the pipes and then go drag the cart again. And also do remember to hold on to the door handle after opening the door. So now we get to our first boss fight. And what I like to do here is to walk on the rail, and when I'm getting close to the end of the rail, I go a bit to the right or towards the screen and then slide inside. Now as soon as you get inside, always go up on the small cages. It's the safest place to be from what I think. As soon as he removes his hands from the cage, quickly go and sabotage the cage and repeat this process to get to the next chapter. Now always do remember that if you think you're getting caught, pause and restart from the checkpoint, and it won't interfere with your achievement process. Now as you can see, this is exactly what I did when I was getting caught by the chef. So when you get upstairs, before going inside the room, go to the elevator and turn on the switch. So after you get the key, you can go straight inside the elevator. Now in this part, if you time everything correctly, you can get past the chef and go to the other room without waiting for him to leave. Just as soon as the chef opens the door, go outside and start walking or running depending on how you feel, toward the table, and then crouch and go straight to the other room. But still, if you didn't get the timing right, don't worry, just wait for him to leave again and then move on. As soon as you get to this point of chapter 3, just start running from the path I'm taking here, so you can go straight to the lever and then push it. And after you push the lever, then go hide under the table and wait for the chef to leave. Soon after, we get to our second boss fight. Only tip that I can give here is that you have to get to the first hook that comes to you. If by any means you miss the first hook, restart from the checkpoint, because you won't get enough time to grab the other one. On to the next chapter. Now this is the tricky part that always gets people, but what I like to do here after I get on the table is to run towards Candle, but not all the way. And when I get to the middle of the table, I start to go straight and make a few jumps along the way to make sure I won't get grabbed. And the best times to jump, from my perspective, is exactly before I reach the guests on the bottom of the table. For example, the first one is here, and the next one I'm going to jump is exactly here. And if you do this correctly, you can get past them without any trouble. At this point, all the hard parts of the game are basically over, but still, caution is always needed. Like in here, you should always go straight back exactly at the moment that the guest sees you. Now when you get to the ladies' room, this is one of those places that I really recommend you to wait a few seconds and recover your stamina. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I died here because of low stamina, and I couldn't run any faster, and the lady got to me, and I was so frustrated, and and I don't want you to make the same mistake as I did. So just wait a few seconds and then go inside. Now, after you ran away from the lady, this is the part that you need to bring back up the volume, since it's very important for the last boss fight. Now, here are some things to remember for the boss fight with the lady. First is the light positions, which are exactly in this order. First light is going to be on the left, the second one is going to be on the right, and the third one is going to be on the middle up, and the last one is at the middle down or center. And from my experience, the lady doesn't always attack you from the same location. So this is why it's important to listen, to navigate when or where she's going to attack you. So if you manage to beat the boss and your achievement didn't pop up, don't worry. The achievement will pop up exactly here after you walk up the stairs. So I really hope this video helped you guys on your speed run. Do let me know how your speed run went, and hopefully I will see you guys on the next video. Until then, bye.